Hey type 8s, welcome to our summer guide for surviving the summer. Now, probably you feel like you can survive the summer pretty well without a guide, so I'm honored that you're even watching this, if any of you ever do. I love 8s. 8s, it's said by some that 8s are the numbers that 3 wishes they were, and I'm a 3, so that's probably true because you are just the most badass of all the numbers in my opinion. But just to review, in case you're not aware, 8s are the bosses. You probably knew that already. 8s get stuff done. 8s are a force. 8s have the most energy of any number on the Enneagram. 8s are just intense, and they're real, and they're authentic, and they're truthful, and they stand up for the weak, and they fight for what they love, and they're just fabulous, okay? However, in the summer, if you're home with your kids, or if you've got your kids a lot more, there's gonna be some triggers for you. There's gonna be some triggers that you're gonna encounter, so let's talk about them. The first one being that being a parent is tedious, and there's a lot of little details, and 8s prefer to see the big picture, the overarching, the big moments, and the little things are very difficult for an 8 to slow down and engage with and enjoy and not just lose their mind about. So doing a Lego build with a million little pieces, or sitting down and having to do anything that is just tedious and detailed and time consuming and all those little things is going to really trigger you and be difficult to do. And unfortunately, those are some of the things our kids love to do the most. So be mindful of that. As you move into this summer, when your child brings out that toy, or when your child asks to do that activity, or when you have to fill up a water cup for the 15 millionth time, understand that that's gonna trigger you. Take a breath and try to move through it and accept this moment for what it is. You will survive, you will get through. The other thing that can trigger an 8 is being needed emotionally by your children. And what I mean by this is that children, they process a lot through their emotions. They're underdeveloped in the way that they deal with their emotions. And they need us as parents to teach them and show them, okay, you're feeling this, here's what we do. Because kids don't have a filter. They feel it, they emote it. They feel it, they emote it. There's no filter, there's no holding back, and all that emotion can be really frustrating for a type 8 to deal with, to have patience for, to really tediously, again, a tedious thing, walk a child through, okay, you're feeling this emotion, this is the right response, let's try it again. Because it's not just one time that our kids need us to teach them that. Literally, I feel like every day, 50 times a day, I am teaching my 2-year-old, okay, you want this toy, someone else has it, don't grab and scream at them. Instead, we're gonna stand here, look them in the eyes, ask nicely, and wait for them to respond. I do that, I've memorized that script. It's just all day long. And for an 8, that can be very difficult to be constantly dealing with emotions and being needed emotionally by your children constantly. So when these triggers come, here's what your automatic response is gonna be. As an 8, you are in the anger triad. All that means is your primary response to anything in life really is intensity and anger. And it doesn't mean you're angry at the person. It just means you're just gonna kind of, and that's fine. Every number has their own instinct that they pull into. But it can be obviously kind of hurtful to our children when they're met with that anger, because they can feel like they may have disappointed you, and they may not have at all. You're just triggered and you respond, and you're not even thinking about it. And that happens with every number. Every number gets triggered and responds in their different way. And every response, usually the automatic response, is not always the healthiest or the most helpful for our child or whoever it is that we're talking with. So same with anger. That's gonna be your initial response, is to just unleash, let it out, and then move on. You might not even feel it or feel bad about it. It just happened and we go on. But if you do tend to have a child who is more sensitive, who is more feelings oriented, that can really put a strain on your relationship with that child. So being aware that that's your automatic response when these triggers come can help you, and this is the whole gift of the Enneagram, can help you to pause, take a breath, and decide how you want to respond instead of it being automatic without thinking. And 8s are also in the body triad, so there's the anger triad and the body triad both happening here. And body triad types, they just do first and they think second. And so a great growth activity for you if you're an 8 is to try and engage your thinking and your mindfulness a little bit quicker before you just do, before you just say, just act, just emote and be intense. If you can pause and engage your thinking, you have a much greater chance of showing up in a healthier, more helpful way, both for your child and for you as an 8. The other way that you're gonna be challenged to grow, and these growth activities are designed actually to really be uncomfortable. It's really gonna be uncomfortable because I'm taking what your strength is and I'm trying to bring balance by bringing the other side. And typically for most of us, we're very used to being in our strength and we're very uncomfortable being on the other side of it. So this is gonna be uncomfortable, but there is so much growth and balance that it brings if you can press in and actually do this growth activity. So I want you to actually sit with your child as they're feeling things and try to feel with them. And especially the more tender, the more soft, the more feminine emotions are difficult for 8s to access. It's not bad, it's not good, it just is. And so intentionally sitting with the child, feeling those emotions, trying to put yourself in their shoes, trying to hear from their perspective, trying to feel how they're feeling is a huge growth activity that can really bring a tenderness that is so beautiful. Your superpower is your ability to do and to get things done and to see the big picture and to be a force for good. And if you can balance that out with a little bit of tenderness, ability to access some of those softer emotions, I mean, I can't think of a better parent to have than a healthy 8. And so it's worth it to get uncomfortable and to start feeling some of those, to really especially don't run away, don't try to squash, don't try to push out of the way, whatever your child is feeling, don't rush past it, sit in it and feel it and really try and access some of those softer emotions. Because typically when our children trigger us, it's because there's something in us that hasn't healed fully yet. It's more a reflection on us than our children. I know that's true for me. So that would be your growth activity. Really being present, because 8s are aggressive numbers that are constantly in the future. So your discipline is gonna be to stay in the present, to stay right here with your child, to not be pressing forward and moving on, but really stay right here. Your superpower, of course, is that you are just lots of fun, got so many great big projects and ideas. You get stuff done. You're probably gonna reorganize your whole home this summer. You're probably gonna plan an amazing trip this summer. You're probably gonna do things on an epic scale. 8s never half-ass anything. You're gonna do whatever you do on an epic scale, and that is fabulous for your children. That is fabulous for your family. That is just amazing for your community. Whether you do a community project, whatever you do on a big scale. And that is your superpower. That is something that a lot of numbers envy and aren't able to figure out. So bring that to your community, bring that to your kids, bring that to your home, as long as you're willing to balance it out with a willingness to sit with some of those softer emotions, a willingness to engage in those tedious tasks, and realize that life, yes, happens in an intense world, life happens in big scale, life also happens in those small, everyday moments. Life happens if you slow down enough to catch it. in the moment that your child just comes and slips their hand into your hand, in those moments when you're cuddling on the couch and they just fall asleep on you. And those are the moments that we feel like nothing important is happening here, nothing life-changing, earth-shattering. Does this really matter? And it does. And we're only accessing half of the beauty of parenthood if we're only accessing the big moments. I don't want you to miss out on the other half that is so beautiful and so tender and so precious. And I want you to just rock it this summer and have an amazing time being a fully present parent and enjoying every moment. Because one of my favorite and least favorite quotes is, we only have 18 summers with our kids. Always freaks me out. So let's make it a good one.